Hello, I wanted to create a quick guide for the build that I've been playing in Harvest League. I've been playing Essence Strain Contagion for a while now. Um, while it has been very powerful in Harvest League because the harvest crafts were kind of making it easy to both create high and shield gear but also very good chaos gear, you will be able to make it work outside harvest as well. It utilizes high block and high block and energy shield on block. So when you block, you regain some of your base energy shield every time you block an attack or a spell, and it utilizes a couple of cluster jewels as well and a thread of hope. In the included path of building, I have several passive trees that shows how to league start with it and when to respec and etc. But let's just do a quick map. So when you use Essence Drain, you will first cast Contagion and then you will spread the Essence Drain through the Contagion. So it's like you cast a Contagion, then put off Essence Drain, and it will spread to everyone when the monster dies. Furthermore, you also support it with our Wand+Shield that applies withers because of a jewel that you get in Act 5. So the thing is, there aren't a lot of good links for Essence Drain. You need to get Empower to have a decent 6th link. If you don't have an Empower, then you might as well just run a 4 or 5 link.
Just need a moment to catch up.
So, as movement, I shield charge around, and I also use Withering Step to apply some quick wither stacks, and like Withering Step applies 6 to 8 wither stacks at once, and then you apply the rest of the wither stacks up to 15 with your blight skill. And the Wand+Shield is 3 big novas that comes from you. So in the path of building, I will show that you should path this way and up to no witnesses as fast as possible, and then get growth and decay and atrophy. Then you can go up and get some up to trickery and get the life notes, and down to method of madness and the revenge of the hunted. And then you will go over here, pick up the life notes and the spell damage here, and up and pick up the life notes up here. Now you have a choice, either go this way and save some respec points, picking up corruption, then going down and getting purity of flesh, and over to devotion, and down to sanctuary and glancing blows. Or you can go this way and pick up quick recovery, and down here get discipline and training, and then down here and through righteous decree go down and pick up glancing blows, and then you can go up and get devotion and then go back over here. But you will have some more respec points that you need to remove later. But it is certainly an option. Like to be full build on the 8 cluster jewel, you need 98 points, and you should only pick up insightfulness after respec to CI if you need some base mana regen. But the main links for Essence Drain is controlled destruction and efficacy. Those are the best two options. Then it's void manipulation and swift affliction, and then lastly empower. You could also craft some gloves with delirium orb. It's an essence of delirium that adds 30% more damage over time. And then if you are able to remove 2 prefixes and have a free suffix, you can multimod. Then you can multimod area +1 area of effect gems and +1 projectile gems. Then you have a very good 4-link essence strain, and then you can run a 6-link blight. But having a 6-link blight really demands a lot of mana recovery and a high mana base, so bear that in mind, because it's a very expensive channeling skill. So early on, focus on trying to get a wand, a +1 chaos gems, and some chaos damage over time multiplier wand. The easiest way to get these ones is using Aberrant Fossil. It's so easy. You just get eye level 4 wand and hit it with like 4 or 5 Aberrant Fossils, then you will hit chaos damage over time multiplier, the lowest tier, and +1 chaos skill gems, and then you have a very decent wand. Early on, you can craft some life shields where you use Aberrant Fossil and Corroded and Pristine Fossils. This will make it much easier to hit both the high life and +1 chaos skill gems, or you could use etheric. I don't have any more etheric fossils, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, I have etheric here. Can use etheric and aberrant and corroded. These are also a very good combination, but then you won't necessarily hit the life, so you could not use corroded and just use pristine. So etheric and aberrant and pristine, those aren't the most expensive fossils either, so it shouldn't be that hard to like craft a level 64 20% spell damage shield with that. Like, to begin with, you won't have all the influence gear, so I would primarily focus on getting your wand at first, then a decent shield, then a hunter amulet, then these gloves. If you can craft those early, you will also save all the fusings, and it only costs 2 exalted orbs and 2 divine orbs to multimod it if you are able to hit the 30% more damage over time and get the free prefixes. That's a very powerful early pseudo 6-link for the essence strain, and you won't need to use any fusings to get a 6-link. Don't aim for the hunter hubris circlet. Just try to craft a high energy shield hubris circlet, or get the vertex from Uber City. The vertex is very good for Trickster as well. Early on, you can use some very cheap boots, very cheap CI boots. What is their name? These Syntrek boots, very good early because they can roll up to 150 energy shield, and with added quality, they come up to about 180, I think. 180 energy shield. That's very high with 30% movement speed as well. And they also grant you some dexterity and intelligence. Later on, try to get some Shaver Sorcerer boots that I want you to craft with a combination of dense fossils, shuddering fossils, dense and shattering and prismatic fossils, because that will leave out all the life mods and the mana mods on the prefixes, making it more likely to hit high energy shield and high movement speed. And the prismatic fossil also makes it more likely to hit the void elemental ailments. If you don't get movement speed on the boots, but have a free prefix, the onslaught on kill is very strong for Trickster as well, because it saves you a gem slot, and you either wanted to use Baited Breath, which is a unique build, or Crusader Crystal build. So saving a jewel slot for some powerful Cobalt jewels is also worth it, because Trickster already have a very high movement speed. So only getting 20% movement speed doesn't hurt that much, and you can activate your Wither to move even faster, and you can shield charge around, and you also trigger no witnesses, which also makes you move faster. So only getting 20% movement speed on the boots ain't that big an issue. Okay, so I want to talk about the Baited Breath that I mentioned. This build is so powerful for CI builds, and it's only a 1 chaos unique. And like, this is like the best crystal build that you can get for money, right? And it only adds 400 energy shield compared to Baited Breath. But like, this will cost you 10 to 20 exalts in a trade league, and this will cost you 1 chaos. So just aim for Baited Breath. Don't even think about a Crusader crystal build, because Trickster already have very high energy shield recovery rate. So the energy shield recovery rate on the special Crusader suffix ain't that powerful on Trickster, because when you kill stuff with Trickster, you have 70% increased recovery rate. That's a lot of recovery. And the way that Essence Strain functions is that it increases your life regeneration when it deals damage. But by picking up Zealot's Oath when you go CI, you will regenerate energy shield instead of life regen. And that makes you really have a very high sustainability. That, coupled with the energy shield on block, just makes you unkillable in the end. I've found all the way to level 100 on Soul Self-Found Hardcore using this build. Of course, it will be way harder next league. We don't know the league mechanic yet, but make crafting stuff with Harvest has proven very easy and very powerful. Crusader rings are very powerful as well, if you can get those at some point. The 18% flat energy shield is very much, but do I have any other? I think I have some old ones, like this one. Okay, you can see the difference is 5 energy shield flat, but 4% maximum energy shield. That's about 70 energy shield, right? So getting the highest tier rule compared to the highest tier flat energy shield actually isn't that much of a difference. So just try to get some buy, if you're in trade league, some rings with very high energy shield, and then matching resistances so you can get the cap that you'd like, right? If you have room, +1 minimum frenzy charge or +1 minimum endurance charge, but don't stress too much about it, because on your wand, I want you to craft this trigger socketed spells when you use a skill. So when you use a skill, you will activate your Tempest Shield, which will increase your block by 3% both at spell block and attack block. But you will also create this chill from Cold Snap. And Cold Snap works the way, like, if you kill stuff within the chilled circle, you get frenzy charges. So that makes you gain frenzy charges while you clear maps, but obviously you won't generate frenzy charges while you're hitting or fighting a solo boss. And lastly, you will have your despair in here. And using despair from this, it's much more powerful than using the unique flask that grants you. Where are flasks here? Where is it? There. Witchfire Brew. It only grants level 21 Despair Curse without any quality on. And quality on Despair is so powerful, it just grants more damage, right? This is very good early when you're running the live version of the build and you haven't unlocked the triggers socketed spells when you use a skill gem. When you use a skill. Then it's very powerful because you run around the maps and you actually get close to the packs, and that way you curse them, increasing your clear speed. Early on you will also use Frenzy to trigger Spellslinger. You will use 3 Spellslinger setups, one with Soul Rend, and one with Contagion, and one with Essence Drain. Everything of that is mentioned in the path of building, but also in the written forum guide. But basically, from Act 1 to 3, level with Caustic Arrow. You can get that right after you kill a Hillock, and you will just use a bow until Act 3. I usually recommend using a bow until the last of Act 3, until you've done Library or at least killed Piety. Then you can swap for the Spellslinger setup, because you get Soul Rend after you kill Grievous right before Piety. But if you are lucky and get some very powerful wands, let me just, I've been having a bunch of practice runs. This guy. I was very lucky and I got 2 very powerful wands early in my run with the Chaos Damage over time multiplier on both of them. I actually started using from the start of Act 3, right after you kill, you clear the prison cells and get into town. I was just using Essence Drain and Contagion together, without a 4-link Soul Rend. So if you are able, you should focus on getting your Soul Rend into a 4-link and your Essence Drain into a 3-link. It's much more powerful to have high links on the Soul Rend rather than high links on the Essence Drain. It makes you clear and run much faster. But on this run, I chose to skip Library, making it much harder to get skill gems, because then I'm forced to use Void Manipulation instead of using Efficacy, which I would have gotten from Library. And so my Soul Rend Spellslinger setup needs 2 green, 2 blue, and my Essence Drain needs 3 blue, 1 green. And that's why I use it like this right now. But when you run with the Frenzy setup, you just have a Smoke Mine to move fast, and you have a manual Despair Curse. But when you can get 2 blue links together and 1 green, you can use the Frenzy. I have 2 blue here, as you can see, and 1 green. Then later in Act 4 I will be able to get Curse on Hit, and I will link that to my Frenzy, because it's very expensive to use your abilities, and sometimes you won't have enough mana to manually curse. So when you clear packs, you just shoot once here, and then the Soul Rend will usually clear the pack, but then also the Essence Drain will spread throughout the pack, right? It's very good, and it's a very big quality of life. Oh, nice! It's a very big quality of life to have the spell slinger setup, but the power from the spell slingers really falls off in maps. When you're running maps, you will feel like you're missing out on DPS when you start hitting the late yellows and early red maps. So about this time, when you hit the late yellows, I would really start working on getting my CI gear. So when you get the last overlap done and get the last 2 ascendancy points, you will get I haven't ascended on this guy, but you will get the I'm going to show it on a different guy. You will get the ascendancy points that grants you extra inch shield from evasion on the body armor and extra evasion from inch shield on the helmet, but also you will get the 6% cast speed per ghost route. So 18% cast speed on your double cast of Contagion and Essence Drain really feels good. Before that, it feels like you're casting it too slowly. So you're bypassing this double cast when you're using Spellslinger, but when you ascend the final lap, it feels like your cast speed is much better this way. And lastly, I will go over how I like to put up my action bars. So I use shield charge and I have that on my space because that's my always moving skill. I have a flame dash on my thumb on my mouse just to get out of some trouble in the serious fight or crossing gaps. And then I use Withering Step on my Q just to apply extra weather or if I need to run very long. And also to reset the no witnesses elusive effect, like if it drops too low then you can reset it. And then I have my Essence Drain Contagion on my keyboard because I find it easier just type my V and E to cast it, and then when I want to channel something I can hold down my right mouse button. Yeah, and that's basically it. There's a bunch of crafting tips in the path of building, so if you can't remember what I'd said, just go into the let me just open path of building and show you. That's actually better. So in the path of building, I've set up all these different trees that you can follow. Like this is the starter, and then up here you are free to just pick up life nodes if you feel like you need them. I just always pick damage to begin with. I find it easier. And then I start picking up life nodes when I get enough life on my gear to multiply it. Yeah. So these are all the cluster trees. I've set up multiple gear setups like early acts and act 4 to act 10. If you can get a +1 chaos spell gems, that's perfect. Early game gear, that's the same. Mid game, I've listed some decent unique items. I forgot to put in the Centric boots, but those are very decent as well. And then some late game gear, like you could maybe expect to craft this later if you can multimod. Then you can craft a wand like this. You won't be able to get the harvest wand with +2 and stuff like that. That's impossible. But like late game gear here of what I've listed, that's not too far out of the reach. So these are the main links that I've put in here. But the big thing is all the notes that I've set. So I have some general tips for speedrunning. You will need many transmute orbs and alterations, so remember to take all the chests that you run by. Then I write what you need to do in Act 1, and Act 2, and Act 3, and Act 4, and then you will just start speedrunning after Act 4. You won't need to change anything. So I have some tips on how to switch from Spellslinger to Self-Cast, and when you should do it, and how you should switch from Life to CEI. How you attain the elemental ailment immunity, and where you can get the avoidance, so you can stack the avoidance up to 100. The late game item priority, like I also listed verbally, I've written it down here. Then some crafting tips on how to craft the wand and shaper broods and shaper titanium, spirit shield, amulet, gloves, etc. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and I hope you will hit the follow button if you like my content, and see you around. Have a nice day. Goodbye.